Thanks for joining us. I'm Hailey Frances with Russ, Lyon, Sotheby's International Realty. I am a realtor and local market expert here in Arizona. And this is the Valley Homes Zoom series where I bring on other local experts in all things homes to make your life a little easier if you're planning on buying a home or selling. Lots of great information here. And today I'm talking to Colton Dooley with Homeowners Financial Group to talk about, Colton, how much money you need for a down payment. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor.
Well, I'm glad to have you, and I'm glad to have your expertise here. So this is a question I get from home buyers a lot, especially new home buyers or first-time home buyers. You know, how much money do I actually need for a down payment? So can you give us an overview of some of the loans available and how much people would need to put down?
Right. Yeah. One of the biggest questions we get too, clients calling it, do we have to put 20% down, which, is a common misconception. You do not. Minimum down payment for an FHA, which is first time home buyer program, is 3.5%. Now on a $300,000 purchase price, that looks like $10,500. For conventional, the minimum down payment is 3%. So on that $300,000 purchase price, that's $9,000. Now, one thing to be careful of on the conventional, that 3% minimum down payment is only for first-time home buyers. If you sold your first home and you are now buying a new home, that minimum down payment is $5,000 for conventional now. And then we've got VA programs where obviously VA is 0% down up to $1 million. And then we also like to take a look at, not only for VA, but every program, what putting down potentially a little bit extra gets you in terms of terms, if it benefits you in any way, if you are able to do that. If not, we always like to look at keeping as much cash in your pocket as we can.
Got it. One of the things I talk to a lot of my home buyers about is, I think it's really helpful to talk to your lender and have an understanding of, if I put X amount down and then my home loan is X amount, what does that actually mean for you monthly in terms of your payment? Is that something that you work with your clients on so that they understand the monthly fees?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. We like to say we have a general rule that about every $10,000 financed is about $50 a month. Now, obviously, there's kind of different ways to look at that in terms of purchase price if you're financing more, or potentially on the other side, putting more down payment, lessening that loan amount. So it's kind of weird how we look at different increments, both actually on the credit side as well as the down payment side. So say you're at a 3% down for your conventional first-time home buyer, and you say, hey, we could put 5% down. Is that going to benefit us? And there's certain benchmarks where we see where there are beneficial, improvements for terms. At 3%, when you get to 5%, generally we see better terms at 5%. And then what's funny is we don't see a whole lot of movement between 5 and 20. After 20%, obviously you're knocking off that mortgage insurance. The same goes on the credit side. Say you're at, a 640, we see another bump in terms at 680, again at 700. And then 720, and then between 750 and 800, we'll also see different movements. So we do a full analysis of everything. We have a great what we call a what if simulator, where we go into your credit and see if there's any way for us to manually manipulate it, and then we can help you out. Maybe it's removing a collection or a authorized user account. I know we've gotten a little off track there, but in terms of down payment, we do a full analysis on. We look at all your assets that you provide us, and you say, hey, I'm comfortable between here and here. And we always give you both options, as well as saying, this is how this one's potentially better than the other one.
Another thing that I talk to home buyers about a lot is, you have your money that you need for your down payment, and then there are also closing costs associated with your transaction. Can you talk a little bit about how you prepare clients and just kind of prep them so that they know that those costs are coming?
Right. So while we're going through the initial application, we always talk about what do you have in terms of assets that you're planning on using for the closing of this loan. Generally, they'll give us a ballpark number, whether it's coming from a checking, savings, some type of retirement, 401k. And then we always follow up with the question, say, we've got $30,000. Okay. Are you planning on using that full $30,000 to go towards the down payment, or down payment and closing costs? Because your closing costs are generally going to be around between $5,000 to $8,000 at closing on top of your down payment. that's where we, work with them to get an answer on whether that full 30,000 is going to be for all of it or just towards the down payment, and they can come up with the rest later.
Excellent.
Mhm.
So what about people that, own a home and maybe would like to buy a second home as a vacation home, or maybe they want to buy a second home as an investment property and, Airbnb it out. How much would you have to put down for a second home as compared to your first home?
So a second home is going to be 10% the minimum, but always you got to keep in mind that if you're under 20%, you're going to have that mortgage insurance on there. And another thing to also be concerned about too, not necessarily concerned, but be aware of, is that you actually can't buy a second home unless you're over 100 miles away from your primary residence. A lot of people do sometimes forget that, but then dipping into a investment property, the minimum down payment for an investment property is 15%.
Okay, good. That's great to know. Colton, thank you so much for this information. This has been very helpful. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much again for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And again, this is Colton Dooley with Homeowners Financial Group. I have included his contact information in the description below, as well as mine. If you have any questions about lending, you can talk to him, or you can reach out to me if you have any questions about home buying or selling. Colton, appreciate your time again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.